Oh my God, Chris, is it a bloodbath out here, bro? I mean, I haven't seen something turn this quickly. We turned from bullish meme coins are going to change the world to absolute bloodbath shit show in like 2 days, bro. I mean, I have you're a Solana guy, bro. Have you seen this kind of movement this quick? I mean, this makes NFTs look like traditional fucking finance. And like, yeah, I got time to ponder things over the weekend, bro. This is like, holy cow. I've never seen, I mean, dude, I've been in crypto since 2016. I've never seen a whiplash like that. That was epically fast. But what's your take, bro?
Adam, man, we had every single top sign that we can ever imagine. Still shocked by it. Google trends were off the charts. NFTs were getting floored to chase pumps. Pre-sale meta just took over the entire timeline. But it still catches everyone by surprise. Absolutely insane. Maybe meme coins are not the new paradigm. Maybe they are. I'm not sure, man. This was a crazy mania, though. When I was setting up this show, you know, you see so many of these pre-sales and so many of these launches come on your timeline.
Yep.
Just by default. But it was just so much deeper than that. It was complete chaos.
Now, it is true. Like last week, I mean, when we were talking about it and you were like, actually, I'm starting to rotate out. I was like, oh, that's interesting because I was like, oh, I'm going to rotate in. Right? Let me play around. Let me get over to Solana. Right? And I tweeted out a bunch about it. And hey, guys, if anybody wants to come up and share their horror stories, just raise your hand. We'll have you up. So I was like, let me get over on Solana. And I did the whole Solana thing just to figure it out. Because I had a wallet. Maybe it was last cycle on Solana, but I didn't really like dive in. Let me really trade. Let me swap. Let me, add liquidity. Let me play around. Right. So I played around a little bit, fucked around, found out. Got rugged again and again. It was just like, oh my God, this is new because I just haven't seen stuff literally come online and then just be done. Like something comes online. Oh, look at this one. Oh, let me buy a soul of this. Let me buy 2 souls. And then literally 30 seconds later, all liquidity drained. It's like, wow, okay, here we are. This is everybody, because it is so low cost, kids are just spinning. I'm saying kids. It's probably fucking smart 50-year-old men who are literally just spinning up these tokens, tweeting about it, getting their friends to tweet about it. And the moment, like literally like 5 soul of liquidity comes in, they rug out. So they're rugging for like $1,000. Like I was like, wow, this is something, man. It's not like, I mean, my traditional rug is okay. You're getting $1 million. You're getting something substantial. This is like kids taking $1,000 off the table, which was surprising to me. Like I did not expect that level of degeneracy. Like, wow, these guys are tweeting and rugging for $1,000. Holy shit. This is savagery. Like, I don't know. That's my main impression, was just the savage nature of what it is. PvP, man.
It definitely turned into PvP. And that's a big contrast from what's happening over on Bitcoin with runestones, who, basically overnight are becoming, one of the biggest NFT, quote unquote, collections in size. Everyone's just having a good time. The vibes are completely different over there. As far as the meme coins season, it was pretty chaotic. And towards the end, everybody was throwing up a wallet. People with 10K, 20K followers were raising $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in a few hours. And that money, there's only a limited amount of money in the ecosystem. And so in order for people to participate in this frenzy of pre-sales, they have to sell the meme coins that they already have. And so that kind of just begins kind of a ripple effect throughout all of the coins, because the money now gets spread out instead of being concentrated. And it's just kind of a recipe for disaster. So those were kind of some signs that I was looking for. to kind of show that it was getting overheated, and definitely began scaling out last week and moving into more of these proof of work chains, because the vibes over there are just way more fun at the moment. It's definitely a way healthier market environment, in my opinion.
We'll definitely get into the rune stones and the Bitcoin side of it in a bit. I'd love to touch though first on, because yesterday was like this tipping point, felt like for me, where we had, what was it? Shad, which is Mike in Space from Bitcoin Stamps. They raised like 5 million for their Shad token. Red Lion, which a lot of people, like traditional NFT guys like me, collectors and stuff, are familiar with Red Lion News. They raised, I want to say, at least a few million at least for theirs. And then of course Slurf, or whatever the hell that's Sloth one. And all three of those, just the devs fucked up. Like there's not really much other ways to put it other than the devs fucked up. Slurf, the dude burned $10 million. Like, how that's even like remotely possible is beyond me. Shad, I think, I don't know if you guys don't know, I pinned it up top, but Shad, which was Mike and those guys, basically when they set it up, they did it. And this is me, just like, this is my interpretation of what happened. But basically when they were going to set up the liquidity pool or whatever, they mistakenly sent like the wrong amount of SOL in, and then it like locked the liquidity pool. They put in like 2 SOL or something in the liquidity pool, and they were supposed to put $5 million in the liquidity pool. And rather than, issue a new contract and start over, they were like, we're out, refund everybody. They refunded all $5 million, and they refunded, and then they gave everybody the rest of the token. So everybody got their money back plus tokens, and God knows what it is now with that. And then Red Lion, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, this is my interpretations of what happened. But Red Lion, supposedly we're going to do the same thing as the Shad token, which is they collected a few $1 million. They were going to put that entire amount of money into the liquidity pool. Turned out they put in like 50%, and they were like, okay, yeah, we're just going to, the rest is for the team. It's a team allocation. And people obviously freaked. Like, what? You cannot. I mean, bro, lawsuit. I mean, I'm checking out the replies, and it's like, FBI. I have screenshots. I'm sending this to the FBI. And they flip-flopped and changed course. I just saw it 10 minutes ago. They were like, we're refunding the rest of the money. So just, that was yesterday. I mean, just, there was not one that went down and was like in any way successful. So yesterday for me was like, oh God, this is a complete shit show. I'm out. I exited all markets. But so I don't know, man. What was your feeling on yesterday, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was really incredible. And setting up this space yesterday, kind of looking at what communities are going on, it was just a complete frenzy. And it was definitely a ton of top signals that were pretty out of control. I think that you probably called it exactly with the Google Trends. I think you posted that 4 days ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And that thing, man, tried and true, works every time. But definitely come up if you want to chat about some meme coins. We've had meme coin seasons before, but spread across so many chains like this, and just kind of like the velocity of the gains that were happening, and how everybody, even the biggest former detractors of meme coins, just basically said, screw it, I'm getting involved, and started like, putting their wallets together. In my opinion, it was good to see, it happen on Solana. People can kind of use the chain and get a different experience than something like Ethereum.
Yep.
I know that you had a bit of a tough experience with some failed transactions and things like that.
Totally.
But the reality is that this was like peak usage of the chain of any time in its history. I mean, you have literally millions of people aping and, airdropping and, using the network basically to the highest degree. So yeah, it could be a little bit of a struggle. But all in all, these are just growing pains. And so I think that was pretty bullish for the network. Well, it stayed up. You did have some failed transactions here and there, but the usage that was going on, the actual transactions that were being put through the network every second was like literal madness. I mean, something like that would not even be possible on any quote unquote blockchain ever in the history of where we are. So talk about just kind of consumer usage and mainstream adoption. I don't know if we thought that it would look something like this, but as far as just net users on chain, this was like a huge milestone for the entire industry, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, this is and I'll lay this out as a conspiracy theory. So this is probably wrong, but just to conspiracy theory out, what people who were sharing, which I've been on a bunch of spaces and people were sharing in DMs with me, was this. This is the conspiracy theory. And I don't typically lean into this sort of thought process, but I do understand that when you have people with shared incentives together or believing in something or doing something, these sort of things can happen. And so the conspiracy theory is that when Dark Farms launched Book of Memes, you basically had what people would call a cabal. I just call a bunch of loosely collected friends in the kind of Rare Pepe community, along with some insiders in like ETH NFTs. So Farouk, Beanie, I don't know, just those kind of guys, right? So people would call them insiders. I just call them people on X. Like, I had heard about it. I didn't buy any, but I had heard about it too. Like, and to be clear, like that pre-sale was completely available on X for at least 24 hours, right? So if you missed it, you missed it. Like, but it had this traction of early insiders that had this vibe. And then obviously it blew up. It went completely crazy. But the conspiracy theory beyond like, oh, well, it's a bunch of cabal of insiders, which I don't necessarily say is true. But what the people then say is that what you get is you actually have Solana whales, people who are deeply invested in Solana ecosystem. They ran up that price early. They were the ones buying, right? And if you think about it from a marketing perspective for Solana, right? If you're an OG Solana holder and you've held Solana since the sale, right? And you got in at 2 cents a Solana, right? All you want is for network adoption, right? And so these guys were buying Book of Memes, sent it to more than $1 billion to grab all the attention, right? And then dumped or whatever. I don't know, whoever, they do what they do. It doesn't matter, because the reality is for them, it's just, they're just trading Solana tokens. So it doesn't really matter to them. These are the rich billionaire whales, right? And so what it did is grab all this attention for Solana, which is, I'm not saying this happened, but this was an interesting theory about how do you gain attention for your blockchain. And so if we look at the last cycle, what happened on NFTs, without question, we had early Ethereum adopters, huge whales buying into this whole NFT kind of experience, right? We had huge sales, massive sales, giant pumps of Bored Apes and punks and all the rest of it. And a big amount of that was huge early collectors on Ethereum. And it solidified Ethereum as, I mean, Ethereum was already solidified, but it gained like on CNBC type adoption. And I think we see, to a large extent, whether or not this conspiracy theory is true at all, that is for sure happened. Like, now Solana has clearly set itself up kind of as the number 3. And, whether or not, old school whale Solana holders helped make that happen or not, that's the kind of conspiracy theory that's going around. But I'd love to hear thoughts on whether or not you think that's real, or if that's just crazy bullshit and it was all retail driving up those prices.
I mean, the chain was going crazy for a few weeks beforehand. And so just to have some sort, I don't know if we could expect it to be this type of degree of absolute chaos, reaching over $1 billion in 48 hours. Literally like the fastest unicorn of any asset ever
in the history of the world.
Like, I mean, like 1000x gains in a few hours is absolute madness.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone can plan it, but I think that something like that, some sort of, eruption, kind of a finale to kind of, maybe end or plateau meme season, something like that could be expected. But I think that the chain was just, I think people were using it. I don't know if any of it was complete insiders with malicious intentions or something like that.
Yep.
There's always people that are going to pump anything that they can. That's just kind of the natures of free markets. Someone's always looking to do it. Like you said, I kind of just, I never agree with the cabal takes, really. It's, we think it's like this shadowy group of people when it's really just like a couple of friends in a Discord that are all buying the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, that to be clear, that is my general thesis.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, but most of this stuff is just people. It's just people acting in their best interest, right? In this crazy free market environment, which like this is the most free market in the world, right? Like this is literally like free market capitalism at its peak, right? And it's fun as hell. I mean, like, look, I was up at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I mean, I literally popped awake for some reason when Slurf was going off. Like I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, I can't sleep. And I got online and sure enough, there's the spaces going off on Slurf. And I was like, this is nuts. I should not be playing in this playground because I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. And did you happen to catch any of those Slurf spaces? It was. Did you catch any of it?
I didn't catch the spaces. I just read the reviews on the timeline.
Oh, it's disgusting.
But this is the most entertaining industry in the entire world. Just 24 hours of streaming entertainment.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos. It's so funny how many different dimensions people can look into these things. You never know how much of it is actually staged, how much of it is real. I mean, the dev is burning $10 million and people are like, that's definitely bullish. This is the most insane person that I have ever seen in my life.
I'm gonna pop into every day in a second. It was literally, I was in the space and people, and this was true. You've probably heard it by now, but nobody was coming up and being like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Nobody. Like, I did not hear. I listened for like 2 hours. Not one person. Everybody was like, bro, this is genius, bro. You're a legend. I'm like, legend? Fucking what the fuck, dude? I mean, it was crazy, man. Anyway, Everyday Man, what's up, dude?
Hey, Adam. Yeah, thanks for bringing me up. I've been in the space since the early days, the Rare Pepe early days, like 2015, 2016, Spells of Genesis, all that stuff. And I learned just this morning I'm never too old to get rugged.
Oh, me too, man. Me too.
Dude, I can't believe I fell for it. It was so the Rare Coco, Kiro.
Yep.
There's a token Snap, and it's like $NAP, which is genius. So I fucking wake up, and I'm like doing the same kind of thing. I'm like, got my coffee, 5 a.m., and I see a pre-sale for Snap. Awesome.
No way, bro.
I sold some BS meme coin and made like one soul. I was like, well, what have I got to lose? So I copied.
You have exactly one soul to lose, brother.
One soul. So I was like, all right, I'll throw it on, maybe I'll get like a 10x. And I was like, wait a minute. This guy, the account had like 14,000 followers and he joined Twitter in January this year. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So anyway, the community note for everybody, doesn't matter if you're an OG or not, you're never too old to get rugged. And dude, I fell for it. So I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't have like 100 souls.
Totally, dude. Totally.
So anyway, yeah. But I love what you guys are. I'm so excited that you're back involved, and I'm really excited to see development again, right? Like things coming online, making it easier to trade. The friction involved with counterparty assets has been good for holders, I think, because it's forced us to hold.
Yes.
And it's not easy for people to come in and just yeet into the thing like I did with my soul. But the development is really exciting. So just shout out to everybody involved. I'm glad you're back, Adam, and it's cool to be following along. And I'm excited for the rest of the year.
Yeah, man. Well, that we'll get into that when we talk a little bit about Runestone and Bitcoin. that friction, I think, is actually that's pretty important if you want to maintain any sort of price. I mean, this is what, and you know, to your point on getting rugged, and you're never too old to get rugged in crypto. I mean, it's like I've always said, you have until you've been rugged or scammed or hacked, you're actually not in crypto, because this is like, you have to, there's just, you can't be active in the ecosystem and not have it happen to you. You get up, you're a little bit fucking sleepy. It literally happened to me right before the show. I had like a couple SOL left in my wallet, and I was like, you know, might as well burn it all, right? I was like, maybe I get a quick 10x, you know what I mean? And I don't even know what it was. I can't even remember the ticker, but it was like, oh, let me just, and this was what I'm talking about. I put in, it was maybe two or three or four SOL. I don't even know. Max like $1,000. But I was obviously the only idiot buying this because they literally rugged like me. It was like they launched this contract and this token just to hopefully catch the sucker. And I was that sucker. And it was for $1,000 or whatever. And it was like, wow, that's
well. And I think it, like, hopefully I think it's a very, like, the fact that my FOMO is at that level where I was willing to do that is probably a good sign. And that money's going to go somewhere, right? Whoever scammed it is probably a crypto native. Hopefully they go sweep the floor on one of the collections I own, you know, something like that. So I get something back.
Well, I always look at it, it's either that or, you know, I always like to frame it, my losses and my steals is, it's some guy and some, you know, who's barely scraping by, and this is going to be life-changing for him and his family. So, you know, Godspeed. That's the way I look at it, but it's probably wrong. It's probably some gigabrain who's got a, you know, 1,000 Bitcoin or something, but man, I don't know about it. But it has been a fun week, but obviously we got crushed in a lot of ways. Doggy, what's up, man? Welcome to the stage.
What's up, guys? Stoked to be on here. Man, it's a wild fucking time, man. Truth be told, you haven't really earned stripes unless you have your, you know, your wallet exploited, your allocations implode. You know, you get to the bottom of a Jack Daniel's bottle to be like, what the fuck? And then the only uplifting thing you can do is, you know, go pop some Molly and go rave it out and basically be like, okay, I'm back in, boys. Monday, let's get back to it. It is a wild fucking time, but yeah, man, it sucks to be on the shitty end of that stick. Like, I think all of us have been there at some point, but it's a good feeling because then at least like later on, you're just like, oh, now I know what the signs are. Like, yeah. I know exactly what to probably look at, what not to do. And if you're ever in the opportunity to like build something as a vehicle for like other people, you're like, don't be a fucking bag of dicks. It's very simple.
Yep. Yeah. I actually, it's funny because I don't know who I saw on the timeline today. And they round tripped, I think it was Slurf. Oh, that's who it was. It was, it wasn't Daniel Got Hits. It was, Thread Guy. So I guess Thread Guy had, was when that Slurf space started, he had bought some Slurf, and, you know, then that space blew up, and that space, I want to say, I mean, it was crazy, Chris. It had like 15,000 people in that space. I mean, which is, for a crypto space, that's as big as it gets, right? For a crypto space. But so it hadn't pumped yet when he got in. And so he got in on the like cheap, like less than $100 million market cap, like way less, I think like $10 million market cap. But now but he was tweeting today, he said he round tripped it, right? And I don't know what's worse. Like, I would almost rather be rugged, like send some money, you know, like Every Day did today, where you send a couple SOL in and it's just gone. I think I'd prefer that to like putting in, you know, 20 SOL, you know, and seeing it go to like $500,000 and not taking a penny off the table and literally just riding it back to, you know, a couple $1,000. Like, I think I'd rather, for me, I think I'd rather just lose it, because I don't know if I could live with myself if I round trip something like that, man. But hey, G Money, what's up, man?
What up, players? Dude, you guys are cracking me up. I heard you wanted some conspiracies, so you ready or what?
Well, did you hear my conspiracy about the Solana?
I did, and I think there's definitely something to that. I mean, look, it's mathematically impossible to get to $1 billion in 24 hours by just a bunch of retards on Twitter.
Wait, what are you talking about, bro? Bro, look, you can get there, dude, as long as you have like the most diamond-handed holders in the history of the world, right? As long as 95% of the people don't sell, right? That's where you get into this like cabal of insiders, right? Because I mean, we've seen that in the NFT market, right? Where a project will launch, 90 some odd percent are owned. I mean, just look at, I'm just taking an example of Ruff, right? But like Proof, right? Proof Collective, when he dropped that, you know, his friends bought up half the supply. And so more than half. So you only have a very, very small amount that actually trades, right? And those can moon crazy. But anyway, sorry to cut you off. Give me your takes.
Good. Yeah, it's all good. It's about awareness. It's about natural selection. It's about paying being a teacher to onboard people into Bitcoin, into rare Pepes. And, you know, if we go back to my Covfefe dig, Adam, right? Yep. What token blew up on 315? Well, it came from the rare Cocos. Coco, funny enough, is 315. Snap token rare.
Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Coco's 315. What's that?
Okay, so Hero, the creator of that snap token, right? He's actually originally created rare Coco, and I was like, oh, this Hero guy's interesting, considering Coco is actually 315, and it's got a crocodile and it's got the swamp and all this other stuff.
Wait, what do you mean? It's 315? Like the card number's 315?
No, C, right? If you do the numerology to it, C and O, 315.
O is 15 in the alphabet?
Correct. Yes. And so remember we did that Covfefe dig about the rare Pepe having the 315 on it and you know, all that stuff, Andrew Jackson, all the whole stuff. And so funny enough, this token gets a kind of a buildup from the book of meme token. And then on 315, the snap token goes moonshot. But in reality, that was just kind of a weird coincidence. But in reality, like,
wait, why didn't you fucking DM me before this, bro? How dare you, bro? You need to tell me about this stuff before. If it doesn't happen till after, it doesn't exist, bro. You got to tell me the inside cabal, inside baseball before the game, dude, not after the game.
Well, I didn't know it was going to do that. I don't degen into this shit, right? I don't touch it, but it's all a teacher. It's all about pain, being a teacher. But I think in reality, it's going to onboard people into Bitcoin. It's going to onboard people into rare Pepes, and people are going to learn about the space. Take that pain from you degens and like learn from it, and don't get rugged, man.
Can you be in the G-Money?
Go ahead.
You had some good. The conspiracies were fire. I saw them on the timeline yesterday, but what will be your justification when the meme coin mania is happening on fungible tokens on Bitcoin? What is the thesis then?
Dude, I was going to jump in and say, G-Money, I've been on the receiving end of one of those mimetic coincidences. We had Mona Lisa Pepe, right? And this was years after it was released. Somebody was like, oh, this thing is genius. It's Series 4 card 20. I was like, I'd never even seen that before. So those things come out of the woodwork and everybody thinks you planned it that way. And I love it. I'm here for it. So whenever I find a new collection, I'm searching for 69, 420. I didn't think about 315, but that's genius.
Yeah, it all kind of goes back to that original rare Pepe card in the Covfefe dig, where it brings apart, you know, Andrew Jackson. The 315th day of the year is actually November 11th, 11/11. So it kind of all has to do with the original conception of the rare Pepes and that whole ecosystem. And so I do think there's something behind it. I'm not saying I know what that's going to be. I just know there's a lot of weird coincidences around this 315 and around Coco and around some of the rare Pepes. And so people should take that and like learn from it and figure out, you know, what to do with that information, build your own mosaic of truth. But I think, you know, some of the most important cards in the industry is going to be like the Games of Trump card, right? That is the one that was made before the anonymous Q person ever dropped anything. And, you know, there's this weird Trump on a dragon with all these 17s all over it. And you're like, well, what the hell is that? So no, but I mean, I think NFTs are going to be big for Bitcoin, and I think it's all coming to counterparty. Look, we need a system that eliminates the power whore brokers of the JP Morgans, of the Fidelities, of the, Jamie Dimons of the world, right? Those guys need to go away. We don't need those third parties. 75% of those guys make their money by lending out equities. Okay, so if you think about NFTs as a replacement for Wall Street, these guys are making money off holding your stock certificates. We can conduct business peer-to-peer with equities. We can tokenize real-world assets. We can tokenize companies, trade them peer-to-peer, and eliminate these third parties that are leeching off of us like parasites, so that we can now have the power to conduct our own business without them.
Here. And when we do that in a free market, we get rugs occasionally. What was I thinking of? The it was the Slurf. I don't know if you guys we're tracking him. I was watching him on the timeline. Yeah, well, people were tweeting about his responses, and people were like, "I'm calling the FBI right now," and he's like, "Don't call the FBI. I'm working to get people's money back." It's like, bro, how are you going to get $10 million back? He's like, "I've opened an address for donations." Donations, bro? What? People are gonna donate to you? Come on, bro. I mean, do we? But I'm sure people donated, man. I'm sure they donated. People are. It's literally crazy. There was so much shady stuff around that one, and listening to that dude, I was like, wow. But
well,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's just funny how domesticated those people are, to where they were like being like, "Oh, you're a legend." When the guy literally kicked him in the nuts, and they're like, "More, please.
More, please.
Some more. Another."
I mean, these guys, obviously, it's so interesting, bag bias, right? And we all have it. Like, there's zero question, right? We're all motivated by incentives. But you think about it, everybody in that space, if you hadn't sent him money before, I mean, I even heard the one guy I did hear on stage who had sent money to the pre-sale or whatever you want to call it, was like, "Bro, you're so awesome," because he had lost, obviously, that 10 SOL he had sent in. But when it launched, he had actually then bought more, and that more had more than made up for his lost SOL plus. So he's like, "This is super bullish." It's so like it made me a bit sick to see that kind of like somebody being praised for being so flippant with other people's money. I mean, when you take money in like that, you have a responsibility, and like I'm trying to get the money back. Like, bro, you had a responsibility to take care of those people's money, and that's really, really difficult when you pushed the wrong button and sent that to a burn address. I just don't even know how technically that's possible to do that. I'd love to have somebody up to explain it. But obviously, this is my point on Sol or on Solana, is it must be more difficult than Ethereum in some ways, because relatively smart teams, I'm talking specifically about Mike in Space and the Shad token, and then the Red Lion team, which has been in the space for multiple years now, to not be able to get their coin drop right seems crazy to me. Like, how is it that Solana is so difficult from a development perspective that adding tokens or money to a liquidity pool and dropping tokens to your holders is hard? Like, I thought that was supposed to be easy on Solana. But Chris, I don't know if you have any inside baseball about that.
I mean, I know there's teenagers that are dropping tokens on Solana.
Right.
Like
I know. I gave 5 SOL to one this morning, bro.
I mean, I don't know what is going on. I was following Shad pretty closely. It was amazing. I don't know how they screwed that up. If you were going to talk to an outsider and tell them that you posted a link for random people on the internet to send you free money, and you received over $5 million in 12 hours. And then you started building a community all within the same time frame. And then the part that you messed up was literally launching liquidity pools. They would be like, "What is wrong with you? Like, how do you get all the way there and then screw up on the final step?"
Yeah.
Truly, truly incredible things. So it could just be a different user experience that they're not familiar with. But I think that even that is just kind of hard to believe. So I'm happy that they refunded the money. I'm happy that they sent the token for that specific launch, but it's definitely a bit suspicious or a bit fishy. I'm sure that we can talk to them in the coming weeks and see what their experience was. Adam, I have a question. Kind of, you see collectibles popping off on Bitcoin. That ecosystem is booming. You see tokens and applications popping off on Solana, and then Ethereum just had one of its biggest upgrades since 4559.
Yep.
And I don't even know if anyone's even talking about it.
Nobody gives a shit.
Does anyone even care?
Nobody cares.
What's their narrative? What is going on with that chain? Is it a bad time to be in ETH? What is the next step for Ethereum? It seems like it's in a pretty tough spot.
Well, I don't think it's actually, I would push back on that. I think Ethereum's in a great spot. I think their narrative around their upgrades is crappy. And people have always said Ethereum sucks from a marketing perspective. Their team sucks. Basically, their marketing arm is Vitalik, and Vitalik tends to be way too technical in any kind of upgrades, and he misses the boat in a lot of things that kind of impact us. Like obviously, he missed the boat in 21 about ENS. I mean, even though like I attribute most success of ENS to Vitalik, still he was like, maybe we should put in taxes on on ES names and stuff. But the way they were talking about this upgrade, I mean, the upgrade was about blobs and stuff. Like, come on, man, you got to get better at at talking about why this is important, right? But I think ETH is like, it's so important into the L2 infrastructure and stuff. I think Ethereum doesn't need to do much. And that's kind of where I am with ETH. It's gonna not have that kind of exciting stuff like Solana obviously has now grabbed the attention. But I mean, in a way, I'm thinking people are like, oh my God, Solana, this is it. People are already calling for $1,000 Solana and stuff. I'm like, there may be an opportunity for someone to come in here and eat Solana's lunch. Maybe it's Psy or Near or one of these other ones. Who knows what could happen in this cycle? Like I feel like we're maybe saying, oh, meme coins have kicked off and it's going to be on Solana and this is going to be the narrative. Like it's very, very possible, but something else could come in. Let's run to Haku real quick. What's up?
Good morning, everyone. Just want to say thanks for having me on to start. This has been fun to listen to.
Yeah, man.
So I just wanted to reply a bit to that. What you're saying about Ethereum and them being kind of bad about marketing and talking about their upgrades and those sorts of things. Fully agree. I think I've been to quite a few Ethereum-based event or Ethereum-focused events and lots of Solana-focused events too. And there is just kind of that general vibe of, Ethereum is kind of like a little bit nerdier of a community, a little bit less social. The Solana ones have always just been a little bit like more fun and sociable to me. So like across the board, I think, there's just kind of that interesting vibe difference between the two. For Ethereum, though, I think if they can't figure something out in terms of their marketing and sort of like the branding of their tooling, they're going to really struggle to keep getting new users. So, like all this meme coin stuff on Solana, the part of it is obviously just that like the fees are significantly less expensive, and that's attractive to anybody who's going to be, shitcoining with $100 or whatever.
Yep.
But I would say it's not just that. Like it's kind of across the board. Like Solana's whole thing is speed, and all of the stuff you use on Solana, like you really skip a lot of some of Ethereum protocols. Like there's this sense of like you're almost using like the 90s, early 2000s internet on Ethereum protocols.
Totally.
Yep. And like Solana now, between BonkBot and Photon and Bird Eye and like some of these other stuffs. I mean, you can obviously look up ETH tokens on Bird Eye, but just a lot of the tooling that's come out on Solana, like it just feels faster. And like to someone who grew up kind of in the video game age, like shitcoining on Solana feels way more like playing like a, you know, like a AAA video game than it does on Ethereum. And like as people adopt crypto, right? Like I think, you know, I'm not really thinking about the 55-year-old with 3 kids who's going to be, you know, picking Solana or Ethereum to use. I'm thinking about the 19-year-old who's in college and is like, all right, I have $200. What am I gonna, you know, what am I gonna do with it? Am I gonna buy boomer stocks or am I gonna try out something in crypto?
Totally, man. Yeah.
So,
no, I'm with you there completely. And I think, you know, we talked a lot over the last, you know, couple of years about what's going to be the next thing that grabs normies' attention in crypto, right? And it, you know, we were talking then, even last summer when the BRC20s were going off on Bitcoin, is this going to be the next thing that brings people in, and which is just shit coinery, right? Or meme coins. And it's funny because now that I've looked back on it and I've done a little bit of research, you know, Doge and Dogecoin popped off in January of 21, really went exponential. That's when it went up to like 60 cents or whatever it did. And that kicked off, you know, but that kicked off then the NFT bull run, right? And I'm wondering if this kicks off something else that I'm not seeing yet, or if this just actually we've just meme coin out this whole bull run, and that's what the narrative is. And do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think meme coins are just like, they're just here to stay. You know, like one of the things that makes people stay in crypto is it's fun. It's really entertaining, you know, and for anybody who, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in, if like you're just kind of doing crypto on the side, like the fact that you can be watching the news and there's some whatever headline event and somebody spins up like a meme coin that's a joke about it, and then people will just go trade it for 24 hours because it's funny. Like, is there better entertainment than that? You know, like I remember when SBF was testifying at Congress a couple of years ago, you know, one of the congressmen made a joke about, oh, Mongoose coin. And I think 20 minutes later, someone had launched Mongoose
to the moon.
Yeah.
I made my generational wealth on Mongoose coin, bro. Those were the days, bro.
Like, you know, so I just think that is going to continue to happen. And eventually, I've had this thesis for a couple of years now. What you will see is there'll be emergence of like these sort of like culture coins where, you know, the meme establishes a large enough community and like achieves like a good enough distribution that it kind of starts to create, like they can create their own sort of like subclass within crypto of like value accrual and value creation, and that like it's just directly related to attention.
Yep. Yeah, I very much the same thesis. Let's go to Craig. What's up, Craig?
Thanks, man.
Craig, you're unmuted, bro.
Hey, GM. I was experiencing a bit of outages in Solana. I've noticed some of my transactions actually aren't getting through. And I'm curious to see how far we can push Solana. As we've seen before, there's been outages. So as the bull run commences more, and as more people hear about meme coins, this train is just going to shit itself. And I'm talking about Solana.
Yep.
So what do we do when the train hits the wall? What do we do when BTC's mempools too congested, including Doge, including Bell's coin? Yep. I think there's only one solution left, and it's the coin that has unlimited block sizes.
What's that, BSV?
I think that was a BSV shell.
Pump it up.
Just real quick as well, you know, something is super unique about Solana is that it's really gone through its battle testing era where, you know, you had the entire FTX blow up, went from $250 to $8. And, you know, the community really rallied around the chain, and it has actual culture similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now Solana is definitely, you know, the hardcore third. So before any new chains kind of come about, they really have to establish who their community is and kind of go through some of those momentous moments. And I mean, we're talking about, Craig just mentioned that, it might have a difficult road ahead. Guys, a token just went to over $1 billion in like 24 hours. The chain is having insane usage, and the biggest detraction is that a few transactions were failing for a period of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of, the progress that we're making as far as these chains go, we're really kind of crushing it. We're really pushing the limits. And so it's not going to be perfect, right? These are growing pains. We wish it was a little bit better. But as far as an experience, I mean, we would have never been able to have that many people transacting directly on chain in any years past. So we're definitely making progress across the way.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it's just evolution, right? And all chains start as cheap. And I mean, even Ethereum back in the day, like it was so cheap. Oh my God, gas is nothing. It's pennies, right? And then it's suddenly not. And I think, Solana to a large extent will follow that same trajectory. It hopefully, for people who hold Sol, hopefully will follow that trajectory, right? And then somebody else, then Psi comes in, and then Psi will get too expensive. And, it's kind of this like just movement to different chains is kind of predictable at this point. Dara, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me. Haven't been in space in a while, so it's pretty refreshing hearing you guys speak and just hearing the perspectives. I did want to chime in with regards to I guess it was more of a rhetorical question you posed prior about what was next. And I think there's a lot to learn, obviously, from bull markets in the time past, and in times past, and like bear markets and all the above, and innovations and all. There is this thing though that I've seen on ETH. I mean, I got ultra rugged with Era 404. That's a whole nother conversation. But with hybrid tokens, I think over the past few years, you typically hear people say NFTs were just like JPEGs and shitcoins in JPEG format.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a world where right now there is hybridization where certain communities, which in a sense I sort of miss the unifying factor with NFT communities that completely disappears with meme coin trading, which also is cool. It is what it is. But like on Sol, there are different like projects coming up, which is hybridization in that sense. Like you have like the SPL 22, which is sort of like a new token standard on Solana, where you essentially have hybridized tokens where one NFT is equal, which you guys probably already know. But just the fact that Solana now does it, I think also takes it to another level. One of the pieces or a project that I've been looking at closely. I'm not going to mention names, just not to.
Go ahead, mention, man. We don't care. Go for it, man. Shill it, baby. Shill it.
It's this thing called Mutant Mon, and it's sort of like a fusion, in a sense, of Pokemon, right? Just I know the team's acquiring a license from the, I guess, creative fan creations type standpoint to go with it. Essentially, the gamification there is it's actually pretty cool. You can go on the website. There are obviously 10,000 fair lunch sold out ASAP. And now you have these eggs that are about to hatch, right? And they all have different quote unquote like mutant mods in them. And for the sake of, making clarity, like they're like fusions of Pokemons all together, like almost bringing back that gamification. But the cool part about it is you can literally swap those pieces for tokens. I think one is equal to 10,000 mutants, 10,000 coins. So basically, if you want to trade it like a coin, you can do that. And then if you want to trade it as an NFT, you can also do that. There's a bit of arbitrage between prices, but they typically tend to lean together.
Yep.
But the cool part about the NFT side of things is you get to enjoy, I guess, the degeneracy in trading based off of rarities and stuff like that. And then with the coins, you just get the, I guess, whatever that rush is that everyone gets when meme coin trading, which technically it's not a meme coin. It is a new standard. And part of what's also beautiful about what the team is doing is I believe they've been reaching out to older projects, older established projects, and saying, hey, do you guys want to hybridize? This will make trading NFTs a lot more fun. And now you have people going on the site to essentially re-roll, right? So they're swapping from NFTs to coins back to NFTs, so they can possibly swap to get like a super rare one. So just to answer the question directly, like what's next? My personal opinion, look, not financial advice. I'm not the greatest trader. I'm a professional at buying the top and selling the bottom.
I'm the world's greatest loser of money trading. Yes.
I literally.
That's impossible though, bro, because I'm the greatest.
No, I have a trophy at this point. Like I actually made myself a trophy. It sits in front of my computer just so I remind myself not to make certain purchasing decisions and all the above and whatnot. but all that to say, basically, I think that's the next frontier for within this industry, or I guess ecosystem that we find ourselves.
Interesting.
Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I've done a little bit of research on it. My gut says, just because we've seen the fractionalization, which has been out there for years now, this idea of fractionalization, haven't seen it done successfully, really. Not to say this won't be the method that maybe hits or is successful. It's a possibility. But the idea of fractionalization hasn't really, I would propose, hasn't really hit yet. So maybe this is the one that actually hits. It's an interesting dynamic because we've seen that with NFTs and PFP collections, that anytime you get above a certain number of collection, and it's 10,000 seems to be like this magical number. When you get to larger ones, it's really hard to maintain floor. It's really hard to get pumps. So I'm thinking like Mooncats, Curio cards, Meebits. It's just really hard to get traction with pricing. Yeah, go ahead.
If I may interject, real quick. I think one of the cool things with this is it's deflationary, right? So, like, for example, they already burnt like a certain portion of the NFTs themselves, right? But all that to say, yes, I do hear the logic behind fractionalization and how it might pose not to be maybe in the past has posed not to be the most successful thing. I guess it is what it is. I mean, it's yet to be seen, right? We'll see how.
Yeah, no, exactly. I just feel
like
this may be the time it works, right? I'm just, that's the type of thing. It's like, and if it is the time that it works, it'll be super successful. Right. I just haven't seen it work yet.
It will be.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say this last thing. It's funny because like once the bear hit, right, you have a bunch of people with like shitty JPEGs in their wallets. And it's like, what the hell are we doing with these things? I personally dropped my project, and my project was simple. I'm a musician, right? And I was able to create these pieces based on my album, blah, 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 blah. Ended up pressing 1,000 to 2,000 copies of vinyls in real life, and currently working on delivering them to all my holders right now. So for me, the conversation with my community was, guys, like we did it. We did something legitimate, right? This wasn't a waste. You get something, you know what you came in here for. Versus every other hype project, quote unquote, outside of those that had like some sort of like historical provenance, right? Everything else was just like, oh, cool. Yeah. It's in the wallet. And most of them didn't even have strong communities. So I think with hybridization, I guess then because people I feel like people just want to degen. Like I haven't had a community for a while now. No matter how much you say this community is about ABC, you'll always get someone who's heard you say that numerous times. And he'll always say, oh, I thought you said it was about XYZ, right? So I think there's an inner degen. I mean, that's why we're here. And then I think that just answers the question. So yeah, but once again, thanks for having me. I appreciate you. I love your spaces.
Yeah, man. It's super interesting. And I saw, I don't know if it was Beanie put out a tweet. He's like, I don't know why some of these kind of semi-dead NFT projects aren't kind of rewarding holders with a Solana drop. And I thought that was really interesting. And in some ways, like what Dar just said, and for those of you in the space who don't know, Chris and I work at Emblem Vault. You can follow the account up top. It's the silver box. What that allows you to do, Emblem Vault, is actually vault assets on one chain and then trade them on another. And one of the things that people have approached us about is this idea of basically locking up tokens on one chain to trade on another. And one thing that can be done, for example, let's say I have an old NFT project from 21. I don't know what's one. The Yetis from 2021, right? Yetis are like this one. If you missed it, it was kind of one of this ridiculous projects in 2021 that mooned really fast and then died completely. But if I'm the Yeti owner of that contract, I could set up an Emblem Vault contract where people could put their Yetis in an Emblem Vault, basically locks them on an Ethereum, and then they could issue Solana tokens on the other side, or something like that, to give your holders this, like, you could get the first look, or the first ability to trade these kind of tokens, as a way to kind of create hype around not only your meme coin launch, but giving some value to the original holders of these NFTs and stuff like that. Hasn't even been explained. Nobody's done that yet. It's really just an idea. But to Dara's point, this idea that's basically fractionalization, but thinking about it in ways that can actually reward existing communities is it's an interesting idea, and we'll see if it takes off in any way. Everyday, what's up, man?
Yeah, hey, I dropped down and then came back up. So listening to this stuff, the analogy of like skating to where the puck is going, which is an analogy I picked up. Obviously I'm not from the US, but I've kind of absorbed the culture now. But it made me think. I had a question, and then the question turned into a thesis, and then I was like sat here like a crazy person writing down notes. The kind of the existing meta of meme coins on Sol, that's forcing FOMO for OGs like you and me to get rugged at 5 a.m. I think that's going to move, and this is part of the question, is I think that's going to move to XCP. I think there are already meme coins that have been around for close to 7-8 years now that are sitting there waiting. So I was thinking, well, why? This is almost like alpha, right? So not financial advice, and do your own research, but LTB coin, Tatiana coin, Magic FLDC, Folding coin, those were super high supply, and there are so many others that exist on XCP. So I was wondering, well, what are the barriers, right? So they don't have a super efficient mobile wallet like Xverse and Phantom that a 19-year-old is going to use. There isn't a really efficient marketplace like Radium or whatever else people trade meme coins on. The distribution is sometimes held in like, I don't know, there might be a holder that has 98% of the supply.
Yep.
So there was no pre-sale, right? There has not been an airdrop. And then the marketing and the virality is just down to people like yourself and Leonidas who go back and do the, what was it called? The NFT archaeology.
Yep.
So I'm predicting there's going to be a meme coin bull run on XCP if there's a new mobile wallet, if there's a marketplace, if we can figure out how to do mass airdrops. Right now, I think Free Wallet lets you do a multi-send to like 30 addresses. If you can pump that up to like a Runestone, 128,000 addresses, it's going to blow up. I mean, it makes me want to go research what I think the meme coins are that are hiding in the shadows on XCP and go buy some bags.
It's funny you mentioned that, and your point to having the mobile app and stuff. I think that's the differentiator that makes Solana super attractive right now, right? It's super easy experience right on your phone. You don't need a computer. Solana is easily exchangeable. You can get get Sol easily. Those things matter to, your typical 20-year-old who doesn't want to go through, like, you're familiar with Counterparty. I am, G Money's done it. He lives on that. So it's no problem for us. But the barrier for entry, it has to be this. I think, Solana has set this bar as like this frictionless experience pretty much. And I think to really take off in today's environment, you need that to a degree.
So one thing I wanted to point out, and that's awesome. I think he's absolutely right on signal there, is like, I recently picked up the asset ownership for Medicine Pepe, which is, an old rare Pepe, and you can use the dividend function. So what I did after I bought it was I released a dividend to all the holders of like my asset, G Money Pepe, and they got a dividend of it. And I literally sent it to like 1,000 people, and it cost me like, I think 0.25 XCP. It was like literally nothing. So there is actually ways you can do that to distribute it to a lot of people at once. It isn't, I think, as easy as these other tools, but 100%, like, I think this is onboarding to Rare Pepe. I think this is onboarding to XCP. And the memes are going to be what's attractive, right? Like, everyone's going to dump into, like, Dank Pepe on like 420, or they'll dump into like, the This Is Fine on a big dip. And, you just got these really cool memes that have been there forever that are literally like timeless, right? Like the This Is Fine by Rob, right? Like that one is like a timeless meme that no one can ever like touch, because it's got, the old, it's got the history.
Yep.
So I think eventually that's going to happen.
Very cool. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, so a problem with all of these meme coins is how teams allocate their tokens. Pre-sales as well, we've seen with Sloth. And there's a website actually. It's called pump.fun.
Yeah.
And this website,
that's where I got rugged, bro. I don't want to don't do it. Pump.fun is a fun way to just go give your Solana away. If you want to do it, pump.fun.
Yeah, so it's a fun way to lose your money.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that it can get rugged, like all tokens. However, what's interesting is that Radium, actually a large part of their liquidity gets purchased into a pool automatically. So basically, it's a fair token launch. Doesn't mean it can't get rugged, but basically, it's a fair token launch. And there's a lot of different cool tokens that have actually come out of that scammy website and have actually taken off past 1 million market cap. So, I mean, it is scammy, Adam, but I think it's pretty cool because it sort of eliminates the need to select tokenomics and all that boring stuff that, people can fall into honeypots and etc. But yeah, pump.fun, Craig Coin coming out soon.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Hello, thank you for the invite as a speaker. I'm Nancy, I'm from Greece, and I hope you can understand my English because they're not perfect.
We got you.
Okay, super. I want to say that I am an NFT girl, and a lot of people this period have shown that NFT space was sleeping. So shitcoins and memecoins are up, and a lot of people want to make rapid money, etc. But all here we can remember in 2022 that there was a few 5%, 2% memecoins that are still here and made big moves. And some of us saw BOM shitcoin, and which was a big thing, and wanted to participate to all this ride. My advice to all this, because I recently entered into a Memecoin, and it was my first time, and I think will be the last, because I can handle coins. I have them, I want to keep them like NFTs, and that is a wrong thing. I think we all must take profits and to take our bags as far as we can handle them. I think BOM was a thing that a lot of people are thinking that could be billionaires or millionaires in a day, and this is a false thing. And the second thing I want to say that a lot of people can make meme and then meme coins, but already known meme artists, I think will be in the next months, next days, will be stronger because they already known and they have a backup for backup their community. Besides, I'm curious to see if these known meme artists with their meme coins could survive, or people just want money and they don't care. They want the next meme coin or shitcoin who fool their bags. This I think I want to see what will happen.
Awesome. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, I think most people just want the money, right? And there are people here who are collectors and are here for Bitcoin or, blockchain technology, Bitcoin. They're here to change the world. But most people aren't, 95, 98% are just here to hopefully get rich. They're hoping to play the lotto and get rich. But some of them do change. I mean, some of them come here for that and then experience something else, and we get them into a larger blockchain ecosystem. I truly believe that. I know that happens because I've talked to a bunch of people that's happened to. They came for the shitcoin, they stayed for the tech, right? So hopefully that can happen in a large degree as well. But let's go to Mutant Mom. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having us up. I just want to go ahead and add a little piece here because I think, you touched on a key component of what makes crypto so interesting, right? It's a free market. And at the end of the day, it's about adapting to market conditions and what the market wants and tying that into what your core product is. And I think that kind of speaks to in terms of what we're building and what we see the future of NFTs going to. I think Nancy mentioned some interesting things about meme coins, right? Because there's a lot of attention there right now. A lot of attention is kind of obviously you have people that want to make money, but if you can really tie in an interesting experience and something that's fun and engaging towards that and tie that back into, say, NFTs, well, then you essentially created this funnel to bring people that are really interested in meme coins and drive them towards NFTs, right? And I think it's all about like situational awareness, right? Like we can sit here all day and be like, yeah, it sucks that people are only here for money, or we can kind of use that attention and, like you mentioned, drive that towards the tech in an interesting and an engaging way to really get people to participate. That way, when people come to the space, sure, they came here for money, but the tech was what came them here and got them engaged and interested enough to actually want to explore deeper.
Yeah, I love that, man. Couldn't agree more. Just try not to lose too much money along the way, right? I mean, it's like, we try.
How did you lose your money on Pump.Fun, Adam?
Literally, it might have, I may be misspeaking. Because I definitely was on Pump.Fun. Oh no, I definitely got rugged on Pump.Fun. I can't remember what it was. One that was not fully like, they have that bar, which is like a progress bar, right? And so it gets up to like 80%. And it's like, okay, I'll get some of this. And then so I get in there and now it's like 85%. And then suddenly it goes down to like 50% and then 40%. And then I'm like, oh shit.
You bought the top, bro.
And then like, let me get out. And like, so whatever, I put in 2 SOL and now I have 1.2 SOL. It's like, where did that go? I don't know what just happened. How did I lose?
I'll tell you what, bro. Pump is annoying as hell. But dude, I've 3x faster in the past like 2 weeks. I've just been scouring for like the right ones. There's actually one that came out today and it's actually doing well in open market. So it's an interesting concept. I think it sucks. I think it's flawed, to be very honest. Like I feel like there should be some sort of like escrow or something on Pump because there's some devs who just keep buying their tokens and dumping on people.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, why can't I put it? If I put in, why can't they have a set fee where it's like if I put in, 1 SOL and I get 1,000 tokens. If this doesn't fully mint out, like fully go live, I should be able to sell those tokens back for 1 SOL, right? I should get my exact amount back. It's like this,
dude.
People are getting rugged in the pre-sale. Like, I don't know, man.
Dude, so you got to find the ones early, Adam. You got to find the ones.
Bro, what early? I was like,
and
what does early mean when it's at like 1%? Is that the idea? When it's at like 0?
You go creation time.
Quarters, bro.
There you go. So when you search up for different coins on Pump.Fun, you sort it by creation time, right? And it's just memetics. You got to have a meme intuition. See what is going to pop.
See, I see what's actually happening.
Anyone
bro.
can make them.
Sorry to cut you off. This is what it is, bro. You have to be the one creating, dude. It's like you can't be buying somebody else. You got to be the one creating the meme and launching the token. That's the one, because then you're first in the door. Like, and then you're doing the rugged.
Dude, no way. So there was a guy yesterday. I hadn't seen this before. He actually went live on Twitch.
Yeah,
and he was there for like hours because he kept getting stuck between 95 and 100%. So every time he got to like 96, 97, bro, some dude will always, dude, like I feel like dude was trading inside. Like he'll buy it up because he was hyping it on Twitch. For a second, I started to suspect that it was probably him. I don't think it was. I don't know. But like, dude, like you have someone do like a 5 SOL buy-in and sell for like 8 SOL every single time for like 2-3 hours. He finally made his whole market. It did well for a few minutes. I think it got past like 250 market cap and it crashed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
I say if this was me and I'm, 16 years old and I, a 16-year-old Adam with $100, I'd have been all in on this, man. I'd have been launching coins like 5 a day. I mean, this is what I would be doing, man. I'd be making bank probably.
So the question is, Adam, would you rather launch, say you're a young, hungry entrepreneur, 27-year-old Australian, hungry guy, right?
Yeah.
And you want to start a movement, you want to start a meme coin, legit, with already a community established. Would you do it through Pump.Fun, or would you spend like 0.7 SOL just setting tokenomics on Radium?
No, I would be doing on Pump.Fun because you don't know what's going to be the thing that actually gets, like, to try and preemptively create the meme that works is really, really difficult to do, right? So I'd just be launching, 5 memes a day and hoping one catches fire and then dumping on everybody as they get closer to that fully minted out bar. I'd be dumping my stat. I mean, you just see it, right? I mean, that's obviously what these guys are doing. And it makes sense like this, but this will, I mean, it just feels like this will die quickly because I'm getting rugged. Everybody in this space is getting rugged on that website. How long can that last? It lasts until the money runs out, and it doesn't seem like it has. It feels like we've hit that tipping point where people like myself came in, was like, let me throw down 10 SOL. Let's see what happens. I left with, 2 SOL and, a spanking on the butt. Like I got my ass kicked and realized everybody was just there to take my lunch. And, that's not that fun. After, it was fun for a week figuring like, oh, I can figure this out. But I think people exit that pretty quickly when you just get, rugged a bunch of times. But Mutant Mon, what's up?
Yeah, I think you bring up some really good points, right? If you look at kind of, and this is kind of tying it back to NFTs, but if you look at the last NFT cycle, at least on Solana, you kind of saw a similar kind of thing happen, right? You just had so many projects launch, mint exhaustion kind of hit, near the end of that. And I think what the interesting aspect of all the attention on meme coins now is it's all about where attention is going to go next, right? And obviously, a lot of people think that's to NFTs, but I think people are going to look more to models that they're more familiar with. And I wholeheartedly believe that those models that they'll be looking towards are models that are hybrid, right? If we really look at, why people are so interested in meme coins, partially it's obviously part of the money. You have this culture that's associated with meme coins. Then you just have this distribution mechanism that doesn't exist within NFTs, right? Like if people just want to say buy $10 of a token, then they can go ahead and buy $10 of a token and then have exposure to a particular project, right? And I think that's what's the interesting thing about hybrid DeFi is you have the meme coin flexibility, but then you have also exposure to the NFTs if you want, right? Like let's just kind of say like a hypothetical situation with like, say Pudgy Penguin moves to a hybrid model, right? And you have all these consumers, these Web2 consumers that are walking into Walmart, seeing Pudgy Penguin IP, and then say they open up Robinhood and they see a Pudgy Penguin token that essentially allows them buy into this culture that they already see at one of the biggest retailers in the US. The avenues of exposure here for, NFT projects is just massive, right? While also maintaining that same interest in the whole meme coin mania, right? So I seriously think that this is, what's going to be the next iteration of not only meme coins, but also NFTs. And I think that's where attention's going to go because like you mentioned, people are tired of losing money. People are tired of coming into these spaces and just like betting on these meme coins with founders that they have no idea about or teams that they have no idea about. And I think that's kind of the interesting thing with NFT projects is you have a lot of the founders who are public figures and tying that into, again, just being able to get exposure to particular avenues, it's going to be massive, right? Just last night we saw Frank tweet something about hybrid NFTs, right? And as much flack as he gets, if you really look at a lot of his moves, he's been early in everything that he does, right? If you look at ordinals, in the same case with BTC gods, and look at where ordinals are at now, right? It's always kind of this when you have this innovation that's really out there. There's a lot of people that don't want to take chances, but when you have big figures take chances on these protocols, on these particular avenues, that's where you should kind of pay attention to, right? Just because in terms of what it means for the future of not only NFTs but also meme coins, it's just the potential here is unlimited.
Interesting. Yep, it's certainly interesting, and I think that's the differentiator from last cycle, which NFTs. And though you could get stuff for relatively inexpensive, at a minimum during the peak bull, like gas was at least $50. I mean, it was not unusual to pay $100 in gas for an asset that was another couple hundred or $1,000. I mean, this was, if you think about it globally, this was rich people playing around, right? This feels like this can reach not only into, what I would refer to as like kids, teenagers, young 20s with a few $100s to play around. It also reaches into the rest of the world who maybe only has $10 or $20 to play around in as well. This gets exposure to that, and that grouping, and I think in a lot of ways could be much larger as far as just numbers of people coming into the space this time around, because it does have that like just far less expensive opportunity. So that's why I'm really excited about what happens this bull run and to see where this all kind of goes. And so for those of you who don't know, we do the show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11:30 Eastern. Emblem Vault, follow the Emblem Vault account. We are a cross-chain trading platform for all your NFT needs. And we're coming back tomorrow with Counterparty. We touched on Counterparty a bit today. Counterparty has some updates. We're going to be joined by Adam. He's one of the lead devs for the Counterparty protocol, one of the founding members. So go ahead, set your reminder for that. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We appreciate it.
I'll see you on